Happy Sunday night and welcome to the Park Adventures Club. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys for being with us. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. It's called the Park Adventures Club, and also give us a thumbs up as it helps people to find us. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. We are going to be talking about several different topics of old business and, of course, talking about a new business topic, which is character dining. But first, let's introduce these folks, starting with Stephanie. How are you?
Doing well. Happy to be here.
And then Shannon.
Hello, everybody. I am ready for Christmas time and hope you all are too.
Yeah, she's like, let's get this going. Let's move on. We got Halloween behind us. Let's just move on from that. Start Thanksgiving. Well, yeah, let's just go straight to Christmas. That's fine. My wife is, as I've mentioned before, she is a huge fan of Thanksgiving, and she gets a little rammy if we start to jump over it too soon. So we're not allowed any Christmas carols until Thanksgiving. So, you're welcome. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. If you've not been with us before, we do run this like a meeting. This is a meeting of the Park Adventures Club. Many people in chat are members of the Park Adventures Club. These folks here are in quorum, and I have a gavel. That's all we need to say about that. But we do have an agenda to cover tonight. Got to keep this thing on time because Shannon gets a little bit upset if we go over. So that's not tonight's agenda. That's last week's agenda. This is this week's agenda. We're going to have the reading of the minutes, and that's the last week in news in Disney theme parks or theme parks in general. Zootopia previews, Haunted Mansion Parlor, Astro Fizz, Very Merry Party updates, and Disneyland holiday news. And then, of course, our big topic of the night is about the best character dining. What is the best character dining? We have this perfect group of panelists for this exact topic pulled together tonight to have this conversation for you. So stick around for the back half of the show. We'll be talking about that. But let's talk first about this Zootopia thing. You know what? Shannon and I have really kind of agreed that we are better together.
Oh.
As a group. It's the worst name. I've got to tell you, it is the absolute worst name. The funny thing is that they had a cast preview on the 1st. Then they had first, second, 3rd of November. So tonight, tomorrow, or today and tomorrow, there will still be DVC previews, and then I think it's the 4th and 5th, or the 5th and 6th. There's annual pass holder previews, and then on the 7th it opens for everybody. But at that point, I feel like everybody has seen it that needs to see it. But Stephanie, I know you were down there recently. Do you miss Tough to Be a Bug? Are you ready for Zootopia together? What are your thoughts here?
Oh, I mean, I guess it's a good use of the space. I do miss It's Tough to Be a Bug a little bit because I liked the idea of the bugs living under the tree, under the rock, and that made sense. And it was a throwback to a movie that maybe people don't watch every day, but it was scary. Not gonna lie. My kids hated it. They wanted to leave before the end, when the Black Widow spider. We have Black Widows here in Louisiana. They're in our garage, like they're around, and they are scary. And they come down from the ceiling, and they're gonna, attack you. No, thank you. So it was something that my kids were like, no, let's leave. So I think that this show is going to be one that we will actually sit through, which is good. So we'll see how the 3D and effects and things like that come to be. But yes, I agree with you. I think Disney does so many previews that the people, you've already seen it probably on YouTube here, the POV by the time you go.
No, actually, you know what? And I think Shannon and I have talked about this before. It's really tough to do this show that we do and share the news that we share and like not be there and have seen it already because like we don't want any spoilers. We want to be able to like experience it fresh the first time we get down there. But Shannon, have you watched spoilers on this one, or do you just not care about this one?
No, I haven't watched any spoilers, but it doesn't matter because the bar was so low. The bar was practically the ground. Like, this can't be any worse. I'm with Stephanie and her kids. Tough to Be Above was a one and done for me. So I will be pleasantly surprised regardless. Now, whether I enjoy it so much that I go to it again, who knows? But it can't be worse than Tough to Be Above.
Well, and you and I reviewed for Look on the Plus Side A Bug's Life, and I think you said then you love A Bug's Life, not such a fan of Tough to Be a Bug. It was
Yeah.
scary. I mean, again, that was something that was pretty intense. The new scenery has our buddy Clawhauser in there, and I think I've said this before, is that one to me, putting in the animatronic of Clawhauser, it's basically the same animatronic they have in Shanghai in the ride. Putting him in there was a guarantee we weren't getting the rest of that land, which is a shame. I think that it would have been great to tuck it away in the back of Animal Kingdom, but I don't know. We will not know that one because that's not on the list. Let's talk about this Haunted Mansion parlor weddings. I was so the Disney Destiny is launching November 20th. And the Haunted Mansion Parlor is the bar that's also available on the Treasure. But on the Destiny, they will be doing a wedding. There will be an opportunity to do a wedding in the Haunted Mansion Parlor. And I'm sure a lot of people have wanted to get married in the Haunted Mansion. But I guess, Shannon, my question to you about this one is exactly the first thing that my wife said to me when I told her about this was, I said, hey, they're doing weddings. She goes, oh, wait, so the theme of the Haunted Mansion is about a bride that cuts off her husband's heads, and we're going to go ahead and get married in that setting. Why are we doing this? Would you do this?
Absolutely, I would. As someone who had a Disney wedding and I ran the Wine and Dine 5K the day or two before my wedding, and I dressed as Constance Hatchaway because I was about to get married. And why wasn't I going to be the murderous bride to be? I think this is so cool. I'm so curious about the logistics of it because I'm sure that is a very popular spot for all of the guests on the ship. So I'm guessing it's going to have a pretty hefty price tag, and there may not be very many slots. And the slots that there are probably going to be, as I call it, a zippity doo dah wedding. You're in there, you're saying your vows, and you're out. But Disney knows how to profit off these things, so they're very smart.
Well, and that's exactly what, when you read through it, it doesn't tell you the price. Oops, how did we leave that out? But they didn't put the price in there. But what they did say is that there would be a reception, but it looks like it's like somewhere else, to your point.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm sure.
let's get you through the vows. Here are your dead roses. I do, I will, anyway. Then they get through that,
Till
and they're
death
like,
do
okay,
part.
now let's go to the down in the boiler room, and we'll have your reception down there because, that's all you can afford at this point. Stephanie, I'm sure you have thoughts.
As somebody who my husband jokes that I keep all of our local photographers in business, I would love to just take wedding pictures there, and not necessarily have the ceremony, but yes, just be able to take pictures and, have a 30-minute session or something like that. I think that, Disney probably can monetize that too, and to their advantage.
Yeah, no, that's true. Before we move on, we do have a super chat from our friend Jungle Cruiser. There it is. The super chat is as follows. He says, tonight has the two most Disney trivia people on YouTube. Is that YouTube?
I guess we need a round two, I think.
So funny.
He
Oh,
says,
man.
I'm just excited. The Big Thunder Mountain had opened today. Totally unexpected. Now we need Casey Jr. and Storybook 2 weeks until Deadpool. Yeah, and you know what? I wore my Deadpool baseball jersey for that tonight, and we'll talk about that as we wrap up here. I know Jungle Cruiser is really excited about the return of Storytime with Deadpool Holiday Edition. So we'll talk about that. But as always, Jungle Cruiser, we appreciate the super chat. Thank you for hanging out and for supporting us. And you guys are great at trivia, by the way. I agree. The whole bit. Let's move on to our next topic, which is the Astro Fizz is about to launch. You get it? Because it's an Astro. It's going to launch. No. So here's the thing: is that there was a stand. What was it called? Like the Spaceship Cool or something like that. That
Cool
was
Ship.
the Cool Ship. That was located in Tomorrowland. Looked like it had either Flight of the Navigator or Stitch's ship, depending on how you wanted to describe it. On top of it, they took that to the ground and built up a new one that sort of like shows a similar vibe to that one, and now they're actually telling us the things that are going to be available in it, and it actually looks like it's a pretty cool lineup of a little bit more than they were offering before. So one of the things they have is these churros, which are Coca-Cola cherry cola churros rolled in cherry sugar, drizzled with Coca-Cola cherry icing, and topped with cherry popping candies. They're also regular beverages, ice cream novelties, popcorn. You think the popcorn buckets? That'd be great. Cotton candy and cinnamon glazed nuts. Looks like a lot more than they were offering in that stand before, and maybe even some of the stuff like the freezes that the Rocket Tower Plaza was offering over there at the launching pad. So I don't know, like, is this too much sugar in a churro, Stephanie? And also, I think we all agree that Disneyland churros are better usually.
Oh, 100%. 100% better. I've no idea. I don't know that there's enough sugar ever in a churro. So, the Pop Rocks, that's kind of a cool thing, I guess. I don't know why they needed to change the name necessarily. Maybe the cool ship evoked more of a like Coca-Cola products kind of thing. And this is trying to tie into the Astro Orbiter. And that's why they named it Astro Fizz, which to me says fizzy lifting drink from Willy Wonka or something. I don't know. Like maybe slushies, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the design is cool. I like the design. I will miss the ship, that was there before. It was kind of neat because it would spray. It would do like a mist. So you could walk through it when you were hot and kind of cool off like that. So maybe they're going to do something similar.
But I mean, it didn't always work though, right?
No, it didn't. Everything at Disney always works.
Well, again, I get one of these a show, but when I was in Tokyo, that was one of the things. I just get one. That was one of the things that my wife kept saying as we were going around. Like when we rode in It's a Small World and all the things are working. She's like, I don't know that I've ever seen all the dolls working inside this thing at once. Like this is crazy.
True.
But yeah, you're right. That is a neat effect. I remember do you remember at Hollywood Studios that 6-pack of Coke that they had that was in
Yes.
there, and then the one that would spray.
I love that.
Yeah, it was great. Again, when it worked, it was awesome. And I don't know if they just sometimes turned it off or what the deal was with that one. But anyway, yeah. I'm excited about a new food option there. These churros look interesting. The name. Shannon, do you want to comment on the name, the Astro Fizz?
I think it's cute. I think it's a play on the Tomorrowland and the fact that they are seriously trying to push Coca-Cola products. I think the structure is great. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even know that Cool Ship was selling products. I didn't know that was a kiosk that was open in the last several years. I thought it was just a shuttered kiosk that sprayed some mist. I had
like
no
Aunt
idea.
Polly's. Remember Aunt Polly's?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to last week. We talked about Jollywood and all the announcements they made about Jollywood. They were talking about how Jollywood has, the new foods that they were announced and the things they were going to be giving out as the ornaments and things like that they were going to be doing. So this week, they announced a lot of stuff about Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Some of these are actually selling out already. So if you guys are interested in going to that, you need to get out there now. One of the things that they are going to have is a really cool ornament that's going to be your gift when you get there. That's Mickey in a Christmas tree truck. And the popcorn bucket, let's talk about the plastic, is going to be available only at the party. There she is.
That's a good one.
I'm excited about this one. They showed this off at Destination D23, and as soon as I saw it, my wife was like, yeah, you're going to need that, aren't you? And I was like, yes, of course, duh. We're going to have that. So this one is, again, in California, they'll be selling it at Disneyland, but at Disney World, it'll be only at the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So there's that. And then speaking of like weird foods and things that might be too sweet, they also have announced a ton of food. But Stephanie, when you go to Mickey's Not So Scary, I always do that. always do that. Mickey's Very Merry. When you go to Mickey's Very Merry, they give you a drink and a cookie at 6 different spots all over the place. And so then to have so many like sweet treats available in addition to that feels like, do you even buy that? The little extras that they have available?
Yes. I mean, if it looks good and you have the time to do it, and yes, you go, like I said, at 4 o'clock when your ticket lets you in and you eat your dinner there and you get your, specialty item or what have you at the plaza or wherever you're trying to go. But yeah, the cookies, I personally like to get the cookies. My kids obviously eat them and we have to confiscate them so that they don't overindulge. But I like to get them and bring them back as Christmas gifts for the teachers. And just put them into like a little cookie jar or something. But yes, they're fun, and I do like how themed the food can be. And I don't necessarily like that it's behind a paywall. You have to buy an extra ticket, a special ticketed thing, but you also need to get value for your special ticket. So of course, there are certain things like this popcorn bucket. It's a piece of art. I love this thing. This is probably my favorite one for I don't know how many years now, and I'm not going to any of the parties. So somebody is going, send me one.
So, so they talked about the cookies being different this year, and I think I've said before that we went one year and I dared my son to have every drink and every cookie at every stand, and when we got to the end and they had the peppermint ones, he couldn't stand it because he hates peppermint. I don't know why. I don't know what I did wrong. But he hates peppermint, so he couldn't quite make it. But here's the list of what they've got this year: the red velvet cookie cake, a red velvet cake cookie, a buttercream frosted chocolate chip cookie with M&Ms and milk chocolate minis, a snowman shaped pretzel.
Yeah, do we think that's an actual
dough.
pretzel?
I think it's a cookie. Like maybe a
this
pretzel
is
dough.
snowman shaped pretzel, and then after this is caramel pretzel chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
So, a hot cocoa cookie made with Dove chocolate pieces. Brought to you by Dove. Buttercream frosted gingerbread cookie. If you haven't had that, I mean, that is the most amazing ones. Now, they also, at every one of these stops, have an allergy-friendly one that is different. Like, so it's not like the same one you get every time. I know that my wife had a gluten intolerance, and so when we would go to, like, restaurants, they would give her the same muffin in a bag at every place. I think that probably in the past they've given out the same cookie at every place. But this one, the allergy friendly ones are chocolate mint mini cookies, vanilla mini cookies. Apparently they're all mini cookies. Apparently that's what makes them allergy free, is they just break them into little pieces and then you don't have the allergy anymore. Lemon burst mini cookies, chocolate chip cookie, double chocolate chip cookie, and ginger snap mini cookies. So these are Cheryl's cookies, is that correct, Stephanie?
Yes.
And so Cheryl's cookies, and they've come in the little bags, which is why you pocket as many as possible and give them to teachers and say, I was thinking of you when I stole these.
Basically.
Yeah. So before I ask Shannon her thoughts on everything, I did pull up the Christmas tree ornament that matches the popcorn bucket, and so there she is.
That's great.
So cute.
Yeah, so cute.
The Mickey's
so cute.
is the ornaments on the tree.
Yeah, it's very cool. Shannon, what are your thoughts about this year's lineup, and are there things that in the food lineup that you like? The cookies, any of that?
I'm just gonna say they've come a long way, because the last Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party that I attended was when they only gave out one type of cookie. So there were 7 different stations, and it was the same regular generic sugar cookie with hot cocoa. So proud of them that they forged on with the cookie variety. The ornament is more special than it used to be. That same party I went to was just a really generic snowflake. But something that caught my eye was the holiday pot roast mini corn dogs from Casey's. And that was just one of many, many, many food offerings. So I'm with Stephanie, like, pocket those cookies. I love that Disney packages them for you so that you can just pocket them. Because there was one time when I went to the cookie stroll in Epcot, and I did a BYOT. I brought my own Tupperware with me so I could bring some home.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know. The Casey stuff sounds good, and there's stuff everywhere. So good on them.
I'm shocked to hear you say the Casey stuff sounds good. Do we have that? I had it recorded now that Shannon said the Casey stuff sounds good. Like I don't think I've ever heard those words come out of your mouth before. So that's
I
high
mean,
praise.
I would try it.
I mean, am I wrong? I feel like that's
You're
against
not
your
wrong.
religion usually is the Casey stuff. So,
No.
um, yeah, I was looking at all this when the Halloween party happened. My wife and I did a review of all of the 4 offerings that they had at the Plaza restaurant, and so that's on our channel here if you want to go back and look and see what we thought about that. But they have 4 offerings for Christmas, the Christmas party too, or they're there all Christmas, I think. But those to me look really good. So they have. Let me pull this up for you guys. They have this holiday beef pot roast, holiday turkey meatloaf, this pistachio and cherry cheesecake, and a holiday cosmopolitan. That's all food at the
That
Plaza
Cosmo
restaurant.
cracks me up because it looks like you're at a fancy restaurant, but you're at the plaza. Like, who are
Also,
we
I mean,
fooling?
I was going to say all this food is from the plaza. This is not what the plaza looks like when you walk
I
in. I'm
know.
sorry. That's like the
No.
nice rustic wood tables and all. Like that feels
Mhm.
like yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, I mean that pot roast hot dog. I was like, okay, I'm gonna roast Shannon about that, and the first thing out of your mouth is, oh, the mini corn dogs at Casey's looks good. So you
I
ruined it.
mean, throw pot
You
roast on
ruined it.
anything, I'll eat it, I guess.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our last topic before we talk about our big news or their big topic of the week. So the last thing is there was some Disneyland holiday news, and one of the things, and Jungle Cruiser kind of alluded to this already, is that Deadpool is making his triumphant return to Disney's California Adventure for Storytime with Deadpool, the holiday edition. They're going to be selling chimichangas in the park. They're going to be doing Wolverine will stop by every now and then, apparently, and Deadpool will be doing his signature slapstick in Disney California Adventure. And I would love to see this in person. I know Jungle Cruiser is jazzed about it. Stephanie, is this a thing that you've seen? Have you watched the video? Do you care about Deadpool?
I don't care about Deadpool. I'm sorry, Jungle Cruiser. But I
Womp
have
womp.
seen him there. I know, I know. I didn't see the Christmas version. I saw his, standard version there. And he's funny. I'm going to give it to him. He's funny. He does a good job. The audience engages. It's nice. It's a more grown-up event, because the jokes are kind of going over the kids' heads, which should should be the way it is anyway. So yeah, I think it's a good addition to a sadly lackluster area, of Avengers Campus now that they've taken away all of the cool stuntronics and stuff like that they used to
Yeah.
have.
Well, but the thing you are excited about is that there's a character dining experience that is coming to the Storytellers Cafe, and it's the
Very
Mickey's
much.
Christmas Carol, where people
Oh, if
online are freaking out that you get to see Dead Goofy, like they're freaking out.
Yeah.
thank you. If only Disney World. Come on, Disney World. Step up your game. Like, let's do this. Let's bring it to the Grand Flaw or something. Put it at 1900 Park Fair. Something like that. Like we have plenty of space. You can bring it in for a limited offering. My daughter had a great idea because we were just at Disney and she goes, Mom, why don't they ever have a villains takeover of CRT, Cinderella's Royal Table, and only do it on Halloween? And they can book
Brilliant.
the entire day, and it's just villains that you see the entire time, and they can light the castle, Ursula colors or something like this, Maleficent colors. And don't you know that that would sell out like this? Everybody would want to be there for that. Like, do bring this over to Walt Disney World too. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll have such a big you know um, response out at Disneyland. But Disneyland, they get some stuff that we don't have at Disney World.
Hot take: I see Christmas Carol and I go, "This is great, but where's the Muppet one? Like, bring me a
Yes.
Oh
Muppets Christmas
I
yeah.
Carol meal
know.
where it's like a
Hmm.
meet and greet. Oh, that'd be so
You could
good."
do
Shannon,
it.
what?
You could do it too.
Yeah, Shannon, Disneyland announcements, either one, Christmas Carol or Christmas Deadpool.
Also not a fan of Deadpool. Could not care less. I'm sorry, everyone. The Christmas Carol, yeah. But you know what? I have to stick to my guns here and say I love that Disneyland is doing this, and as much as I would love it in Disney World, we need to get away from the copy and paste everywhere. I like that it's in Disneyland only. Like, it's a reason for me to go. So good for them. I am jealous. I would love, maybe one day I can go and see it, and that'll be an excuse to go out there.
Yeah. And the storytellers is great. I mean, and we're going to get to talking about, character dining in general. We'll talk little bit about some of the Disneyland ones, the Disney World, but mostly the Disney World ones. But storytellers is a great. I love that restaurant, and so I think this is a great place to put that. It's pretty exciting. But before we move on, we do also have one more super chat. You know what's so funny is I think we're all a little out of sync because we can't all hear it at the same time. And so it's like, but you know what? That's part of the fun, right? So it's Jungle Cruiser again. Jungle Cruiser says, I've seen all 6 original Deadpool stories and all 4 holiday stories. I love that for you. You know what it reminds me of is the Muppets at Liberty Square. It's like it had 3 different stories that you would get, and then if you came during the holidays, I think it was like maybe after COVID. Remember COVID? They did a whole Muppet bit, but without the voices. So save a little bit of money, but they actually had them, which was, they would like unfurl banners and decorate for Christmas in the windows, and it was really cool to see. And I gotta imagine it's the same kind of excitement about this one, Jungle Cruiser. So I'm happy for you to be out there and getting to experience it. And as a fellow pack member, maybe you'll just report back to us and let us know how it goes. But let's this conversation. We'll bring our new business our old business to an end and introduce the new business, which is the storyteller's story had brought up this kind of thought process of Disney character meals, and so this is a conversation we've had before about what is the best in character dining. I think when we talk about this, first of all, everybody who's in the chat tonight, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Much love to our PAC members. Thank you guys for being members of the Park Adventurers Club. But if you will, as we're talking, maybe just drop into the chat the ones that you think are the best character dining experiences. And so I think there's good and bad about character dining. I know that our friend Allison has a small child, and she kind of she is bougie to the max, and so she certainly loves to go to the Flying Fish and all these other places. But when she brings her daughter, she's going to all of these other character dining experiences for her kid, but she doesn't really love it. I, on the other hand, probably was dragging my kids because I wanted to see it. And I remember my daughter as a little kid didn't particularly care for the characters. So, I would always jump in and have my picture taken. I say I was, being a good dad, but really I just wanted my picture taken with the characters. So again, we're going to talk about these places. And I asked both Stephanie and Shannon to bring to the table their favorite breakfast character breakfast and their favorite character lunch/dinner, because those meals are usually the same. And so we'll talk about those. And I also offered for them to bring their worst, so they may have their worst available as well. But again, let us know in the chat which ones you like the most, and we'll keep an eye on that too. The other thing I wanted to talk about here is what really counts as a character meal, because there is a character meal at the Four Seasons. I think there at least was one at Swan or Dolphin, because I know that Shannon and I talked about that when she did her Happiest Stays. And then so when we were looking at this, Disney World lists 13, which includes the Four Seasons. Disneyland includes 4. I would have honestly thought there were more than that. But when I started going down the list with my wife, she was like, well, what about Be Our Guest? And I said, that doesn't count as one. Do we think that should count as one? Stephanie, you're nodding your head already.
It used to. It used to count because you were able to go meet the Beast and take a picture with him in the library area, the where you would order. And so now, post-COVID, he just walks through and he kind of waves at everybody. So no, I don't think, man, you were paying out the wazoo for that dinner anyway. So sure, put it on the list of character dining, because you were definitely, I think I went and had a dinner there and there was 3 of us and we spent like $200.
Oh, is that all? Just $200? Well, again, I agree with you. And now they don't do that. He just walks in and waves, and it's like that doesn't count. So again, I think Shannon is on the same page with that one, waving that one off as well. So if that doesn't count, and I'm going to go ahead and say that for the purpose of what we're talking about, maybe Four Seasons doesn't necessarily count in our review here of that. So we'll count it as 12 at Disney World. And then I pulled this list up, and I forget, this came from Magic for Less. Give them props for putting this together. And so it's the character dining at Walt Disney World, and what it does is it breaks down by meal. For the ones where it's different for meals, each of the characters that show up at each of these places. So you got Hollywood and Vine. Breakfast is the Disney Junior group, and then lunch and dinner is seasonal. We just got over the Halloween stuff, and for Minnie and the holiday stuff is coming up next week. Garden Grill, Akershus, which is always fun to say, is a princess meal. And then Tusker House has all of the Fab Five characters. Crystal Palace has the Pooh Kids. Cinderella's Royal Table, Princesses again. See, even they put an asterisk by Be Our Guest. Topolino's has, again, the Fab Five. Same with Chef Mickey's. And I say Fab Five, there's only 4, but, poor Goofy. I don't know why Goofy's not there. It's weird. The Artist Point Dining, Ohana Breakfast, the Cape May Cafe, and 1900 Park Fair, which, by the way, they don't show the Tiana in her pantsuit. They show her in like a flapper dress. So,
Shame.
Yeah. So that's the lineup we're looking at there. And if you've never been to Disney World and you're like, oh, hey, when we go, should we do a character meal or should we not? That's kind of what we're talking about here. Because I feel like all of us here have been at least once. Some of us a lot. A lot. And then, I've been probably more than my kids would like at this point. But, sometimes you go for the food. And sometimes you go for the characters. Sometimes you go for the location. Something like Cinderella's Royal Table is kind of for the location. And then sometimes you go for the value. So those are the things we're going to kind of talk about here tonight on this one. I want to ask you, though, Stephanie, first, shout out your best ones that you picked out. First, breakfast, and then the lunch and dinner option.
Okay, so my breakfast, I'm always, like, bar none, I'm usually going for breakfast anyway for all of these things, because the breakfasts are typically cheaper, and you can do a late meal. Like what we usually do is sleep in a little bit, and then we get there around 10:30. 11:30 is usually when they cut it off, and they'll switch over to lunch. So if you get in before 11:25, your reservation, then you'll still get the breakfast, food. And my kids can last, like that can be a brunch. So that's always what we do. My two most favorite, and my kids' most favorite, are going to be Tusker House, actually, at Animal Kingdom, and Garden Grill at Epcot. Absolutely love those. Garden Grill is phenomenal because it is brought to you warm in these skillets. If you have a reservation, you can usually just walk up. Let's be honest. Not a lot of people get over there for breakfast or lunch or dinner, but it's a sleeper favorite. So if you get a reservation, you get into the booths, and they are the rounded ones. And if you know anything about this, it's a revolving restaurant that you overlook the Living with the Land ride. So your scenery is changing the hour or so that you're typically there. They've got Mickey and Pluto and Chip and Dale, and they all 4, if they come up to you, you're in this rounded booth, it looks like it's just you and the characters. You don't see anybody else in the restaurant because you're facing out. It's wonderful. Now, if you miss your reservation time, or you're just coming in as a walk-in, they'll put you on the higher level next to other tables that are just tables, and that kind of breaks the, illusion a little bit, but that's fine. They still come over and say hi, and it's so much fun. The food is great, and the characters are wonderful as well, and they're dressed in little harvest clothes and that kind of thing. Mickey's in some overalls. So Garden Grill's wonderful. Tusker House is a favorite of ours because I don't know why. It's fun, it's loud, it's ruckus. They do a song halfway through that the kids used to do at Conga Line Inn. You get to see Daisy. You don't get to see Daisy all the time, so that's a great one to go and see Daisy at. But the food, you get your regular breakfast, American breakfast staples, but then you also get the African food too, which I love them. I'm going to say it wrong. Forgive me. Mealy Pap and the Bobotie. Those are my two favorites, but it's not all African. So like you can have your regular omelets and, Mickey waffles, Simba waffles, if you're there too. So I love those two. I typically, this is kind of a crazy one, but for lunch and dinner, I'm going to go with Hollywood and Vine. And the reason being is that, like you said, it's seasonal. And so the characters that you see are typically dressed in a seasonal attire. And it's not just the same, Mickey tuxedo, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but they're in Halloween costumes for Halloween. At Christmas, you get to see like Santa Goofy and Pluto has a reindeer and that kind of thing. Now, this picture, if you're talking about Disneyland, this is over at Goofy's Kitchen. And it's a similar concept, but I love that they're dressed up in their Halloween, attire over there. So that was one of my favorites. And the food was actually really good too. It was kind of, it's similar to Hollywood and Vine or maybe Chef Mickey's at Walt Disney World, but they do have a good selection of different things for many different tastes.
All right, so I kind of lost the thread there. So Tusker House or Garden Grill?
Tusker
Which
House,
is the one for?
They're right there together. I can't choose one or the other.
I'm sorry. I
really
think
can't.
I think the assignment was one. So I guess what I'm looking for.
Oh man.
I guess I'm gonna have to go. Oh my gosh, it's like Sophie's Choice over here. I guess I'm gonna
One
have
must
to
go.
I guess I'm gonna do Tusker House. My kids would kill me if I said anything else, but I do love Garden
Interesting.
Grill. I really do.
Okay. All right. So you say Tusker House for breakfast, and then your dinner is Hollywood and Vine.
Hollywood and Vine.
Interesting.
And sometimes they do like a lobster mac and cheese. They can really elevate some of the food that's there.
Okay, so the other thing that I didn't mention as a category, and we'll come back to you for like if you have a worst, which you're such a positive person, I'm sure you don't. And then the other one is that is something that either it was a limited time or doesn't exist anymore. Because I have several of those that are like a limited time or doesn't exist anymore. So, but first, Shannon, what are yours?
Okay, favorite. I have to go with an absolute classic, quintessential Chef Mickey. You can't tell me that the chaos of Chef Mickey isn't top tier character dining. And I don't even like character dining, but that character dining is so unhinged with the napkins twirling in the air and the kids screaming and running everywhere. It's a huge restaurant and the monorail is buzzing by and people are all out and about. And honestly, the food is not bad. I've had Chef Mickey for breakfast and dinner. I prefer breakfast. But I just think everyone has to experience. If you're going to experience one character meal, it's like your first time going to Disney World. I always recommend Chef Mickey because it is just there. I don't even know how old I was here. I was quite young, but yeah, this is like one of the very few character dinings that I'll do. Now, my dinner, I actually don't like any of the current dinner choices. So I actually chose one of the defunct ones, Rob. And that is going to be Liberty Tree Tavern.
Ooh.
And it's because I love holiday food. And I love when characters are not in their normal outfits. So the fact that they were dressed in colonial Americana wear, I thought made that dinner really special. So really good food, and you had characters dressed up. Now, Rob, I don't know if you want to, maybe, do we want to touch on Topolino's yet? I would recommend everyone go watch my episode of Happiest Days at the Riviera Resort because I loved that character dining for breakfast. I love the music. I love the costumes on the characters. But I had an unfortunate situation to which I cannot make it my favorite. Watch the episode and maybe you'll find out. But yeah, this is where I had to. I mean, look at the little plush that you can buy in the gift shop of Donald in the dining outfit. Where else do you see that? I mean, I know they came out with some Chef Mickey merch, but
I also love Topolino's because the kids, you can get it's like a little thing of paint. It's toppings
Yeah.
for the Mickey waffles. So everything, like Shannon says, everything is very well themed.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so yeah, Shannon and I did talk about it. It's funny though, if you look at that picture, you think that Shannon is having the time of her life, living her Disney dream in this one. She is cosplaying the heck. This is not bounding. This is cosplaying. Cosplaying the heck out of Donald here, and she looks like she is having the time of her life. And so for her to go, this is the worst one for me. But for me, I love that one, and I think I said that on the episode we did of Happiest Days. Is I was like, I love the view from the top of Topolino's. The dinner is a little bit too fancy for me. I'm a real basic guy, so like the dinner is very nice. If you're looking for like a nice couples night out, go to Topolino's. The view is beautiful, the food is great, the service is excellent. But like to be able to go up there and have a character meal and be like a chill. I love breakfast, so and it's a brunch because they don't do lunch there. So by the time like they don't close at like 9:59 like a bunch of places do either. That's the other thing that's kind of a bummer about a character breakfast is guess what? It's breakfast, and so you're on your vacation and you got to get up early and travel. Like if I have a 10 a.m. Or a 9 a.m. Reservation for some character breakfast, you can't just like get up at 8:30. You have to be up much earlier, get your crew together, get on the monorail, the Skyliner, the bus, the car, whatever to get over there. So it's going to take a bit in the morning, but I liked Topolino's and like the little basket of like the painter's palette. The painter's like a jar of paint or whatever with the pastries in it was good. They were super helpful on like my daughter had is a vegan, and so like in helping her to like navigate the menu, and I don't know. I liked it, but again, you look at that picture, you go, "Oh, Shannon loves that." No, she does not.
I did. I want to love it. I wanted to.
So let me touch on one other thing before we move on to I want to get Stephanie's take on if she has a worst. Is that you mentioned Liberty Tree, and I was going to mention that one too because I don't know that I got to do Liberty Tree back in the day, but I don't know that these were the costumes
outfits.
necessarily that they were wearing, but they did have some colonial costumes that they wore back in the day. And the funny thing is that like the first time we ate at Liberty Tree, we had that family style like skillet meal thing that they do, and I thought that was unique for a restaurant that wasn't a character meet and greet, and that's because they got rid of the characters but kept the family style, that Patriots platter thing. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. Yep. But Stephanie, you got a worse one, I know, right?
Well, I used to think that Crystal Palace was the worst because the food just was almost inedible. Like, let's be honest, it was, powdered eggs and things like this. And I recently, in recent years, have really they've done a better job with their food. I was there like last week, and they did a much better spread. So I do like, and I like that you get to see Winnie the Pooh characters, and Pooh doesn't go around to your table. You have to get up and go and see him after you're done with your meal. But you get Tigger and Eeyore and Piglet, and yes, Winnie the Pooh. But I will have to say that my all-time worst character experience is going to be Chef Mickey's. It's for all the reasons that Shannon just said she likes it. Because it is loud and the food is not good. And the only time I eat at Chef Mickey's is if I'm staying at the Contemporary, which we did actually recently, a couple of months ago. And so we ate at Chef Mickey's, and it's just not great. The characters are great. They're going to be fun. Like you said, the napkins in the air, and the kids enjoy that, but it's not, when you go for an adult, you go for that. But I will say for the food at dinner and lunch being the worst is by far, hands down, Akershus. It really is. And I'm sorry to my friends over in Norway, but you got weird food and it's just not good. The breakfast there again is fine with the princesses, but the dinner is just odd.
All right, so let me go through the chat a little bit. Mrs. Fire Chief said enjoys Chef Mickey's. David Lung says I like character dining except for the price. And Ronald says, I have never done a character dining. What? But would like to do the Lilo and Stitch at the Polynesian. Yeah, no one's thrown Ohana out there yet. Jake's going to be mad.
No, Ohana's good, but I would tell you that the breakfast, apart from the pineapple bread and everything that they send, it's just kind of a standard thing. But you do get to see Stitch, so maybe that puts it over the edge.
Yep. No, I think David says that's exactly why I don't go. We haven't done a lot over the years, but really like Garden Grill, says Fire Chief. Ronald says, I wonder what the cheapest is.
That's going to be probably Cape May or one of these. It's not Topolino's for sure. It's not.
Garden Grill is not a bad price, as I remember, though.
Garden Grill's pretty good. Garden Grill, honestly, is pretty good.
Now,
but Cape May.
I was going to say, except if you do, like we did the dining package for one of the, like if you do for candlelight or whatever, because then they add an alcoholic beverage for some reason to the bill. So, but yeah, that hasn't really been too bad. Jay Ware said the Beast is drive-by right now. David Lung also said no Pluto at Topolino's either, which is true. Yeah.
Now your question, Rob.
Care Bear says I'd prefer the flapper dress, by the way, at 1900 Park Fair, which I didn't get to hear Shannon go off on that, but you said you have a question?
No, I was actually going to bring that up because I went to 1900 Park Fair back when it was the Cinderella characters, and it was far superior to Pantsuit Tiana. But what I was going to bring up, and this is more of a question for you, Rob. Now, do all of these character dining locations, do they all get rid of character signatures and they just give you the card now? Because I distinctly remember Topolino. Oh, yeah, okay. So that's interesting. Like that plays into it then.
Yes. So you can still have them sign whatever. I mean, I bring, pillowcases and T-shirts and things like that. And obviously your books, if you have them ready as a character performer myself, please people have your stuff ready. And on the end of the table, as you walk up, to sign clickable Sharpies. But other than that, yes, they do still give out the cards because I guess they bought so many during COVID when it was a no touch situation that they're still able to give those out. So we went to, I guess it was Garden Grill recently, and they still had their cards. So yes, but they will sign.
Okay.
For anyone who has not been with us, and for shame, I don't know why you wouldn't. We're a fun group of people to hang out with on a Sunday night. The pantsuit Tiana that's a signature Shannon comment, and what she's talking about is this: Tiana's Bayou Adventure look. That when you do, a meet and greet with a character who is known as a princess, I think you sort of have an expectation. I think little kids do. Like, I don't care. But little kids, I think a lot of them would prefer to see Tiana in her beautiful gown as opposed to her hunting outfit or whatever this thing is that she's wearing, the pantsuit outfit. So, but she's pictured with a flapper dress, which I think is actually what she wears at Jollywood in that show. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know where else I've seen that dress that she wears, but interesting. I think that the worst one is Crystal Palace, and I agree with you that it's gotten better, and I think a couple people in the chat said that it's gotten better, but in general, we had the worst experience. And when you have a bad experience at a place that has so many good places to eat, it's hard to bring yourself to go back to that place after you've already been wronged, which is why I sort of get where Shannon's going with the Topolinos. But again, the mixed message of, hey, anytime I ask her for a picture and she shows me that this picture with me and Donald at Topolinos is my favorite, I'm like, But again, tune in to Happiest Days, Disney's Riviera Resort, and Shannon will tell you all about that on our channel here. But anyway, I didn't have a great experience at that because my kids didn't. My daughter was very young at the time. My son was he was like 6 or 7, I think, and he was like, "It smells in here," and I'm like, "He's not wrong." But my daughter was so afraid of the characters that any character that came up to the table, she was just side eyeing, and it's just like she had no like. This was the one. This was the one that turned us off of Crystal Palace for like a decade.
Oh
And
no.
and honestly, I prefer the breakfasts usually to the dinners because like I Chef Mickey's breakfast was usually that was the goat. That was the one we always went to. And then we were like, oh, there's others. And we started going to Restaurantosaurus. And Restaurantosaurus was
Yes.
where it was Donald's Restaurantosaurus breakfast, and it was in Animal Kingdom, at in Dino Land, RIP. And we would go in early because you could get in early. They would let you in early to go have breakfast, and you're like, "This is great." You go in early before the park is open. They usher you right down into Dino Land, and you're deep into the park when the park opens. It was great. But it was McDonald's style food. I feel like it was like a trough of bacon as opposed to what they do now at Tusker House. Tusker House is great, I feel like, and my wife doesn't love breakfast food, so it's a good mix of sort of really more leaning into a brunch thing, and there's a lot of fresh fruit and all that. And so Tusker House has become a replacement for Chef Mickey's plus Jungle Juice. Jungle Juice, they sit you down, they give you a glass of water and a glass of Jungle Juice, and we used to just push all the glasses to my son, and he would drink 4 or 5 glasses of Jungle Juice. And then we go another round right here. Can we get this guy sugared up for the day? Um, but let me talk about the past ones, the ones that don't exist anymore. And I've brought this up on several shows, is that there was a Star Wars breakfast at the Sci-Fi Diner.
Wow.
And it was like,
So
you
good.
couldn't have written a better script for a meal. It was, you walk into the lobby and Darth Vader and Boba Fett were there, and I love Boba Fett. And you would get a picture there, and then you would go be taken to your car, and inside, like, it was just felt like Star Wars, and it was like you're watching a drive-in movie of Star Wars, and they had like all kinds of Star Wars clips up on the big screen. They had Jawas walking around, they had stormtroopers walking around. I think Greedo was walking around, and then they had like, so it was almost like that cantina-ish vibe inside. And then they had, the food was perfect. Like, I was looking through mounds of pictures today because I take a lot, and looking to find my pictures of that Star Wars Galactic breakfast. And it was only during Star Wars weekends. And so, and it was hard to get into, and we were able to get into it last minute. Went in, best meal we've ever had. If I ask anyone in my family, best character meal they've ever had, that one's going to be the one that is our favorite. What about you, Stephanie? Something that doesn't exist anymore, maybe that you wish still existed or was one of your better ones?
I mean, you know what I'm going to say.
I do.
It's the Mary Poppins at her breakfast at the
Aw.
1900 Park Fair. That was her breakfast, guys. Like, that was the Mary Poppins breakfast. And there were many different iterations throughout the years. When I worked there, sometimes she would be going around each table. Sometimes she would be the character that you would meet first and take a picture with before you walked in to be seated. Sometimes it would be the character that you would come out after. And sometimes Bert was there and sometimes he wasn't. So there were very many different things that could happen. But I absolutely loved that one. And the last time I remember going, kids were still little. This Mary was like chef's kiss. She was wonderful. And the baby had been crying, and she just got right down on the floor and held her and like just
Aw.
talked to her. It was just wonderful. And of course you see Alice and you see the Mad Hatter, and you see I think Pooh and Eeyore, or Tigger, Pooh and Tigger. So you had a lot of different characters through all the different, English themed and orientation and everything. So that was really cool. I wish that they would do that for breakfast, and then they could do the adventure themed lunch and dinner. And that's kind of what they did anyway, because I will also say they should bring back the Cinderella dinner that Shannon talked about. I heard you mention it earlier. And that was really fun because not only did you see Cinderella, but you also got to talk and meet with the prince, and you never see him. And then you had Lady Tremaine and Anastasia and Drizella. And those characters are hilarious. If you guys have never seen them, you've got to, make your way over. Usually they do sets by the castle, but they are so funny. And Lady Tremaine, she was something to, behold as well. So I really wish that they would bring these back.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I know that one has a special place in your heart. Shannon, is there one that you got to do that you wish it existed still, or maybe something you saw that existed that you never got to do?
You know, I
I
didn't
mean,
have
you
time to
mentioned
do the
Liberty
research.
Tree.
I mentioned Liberty Tree, and maybe someone in the chat or either of you know, there used to be a special Christmas dinner, and I want to say it took place in like a ballroom, maybe at the Contemporary, and they had those reindeer characters. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Oh. No, that sounds awesome.
Okay, let me tell you that there was, and this wasn't a character meal, but I did go to a New Year's thing at EPCOT. It was in the World Showplace building where inside it was just huge and open inside. They've opened it for festivals sometimes, and it was originally the Millennium Pavilion. That one they did this huge like kind of like one price buffet for New Year's one year, and we did that. Maybe that was something where they did it in there. Um, I know that they do a
Oh,
they do a holiday overlay at Hollywood and Vine, but I don't think they bring
Yes.
in like the
no, this
reindeer
was
characters
it.
or anything.
In the early 90s, there was a Christmas dinner at Walt Disney World through a variety of resort restaurants, like the Jolly Holidays dinner show at the Contemporary Resort. Like it was a show
Oh,
and a dinner. And I went one time when I was a very little kid. Um, but yeah, I don't even know how long it existed for.
It
that's
says it
cool.
ended in 1998.
Yeah, sounds about right. But I think that was special because it was a dinner and a show. How
Hmm.
often do you get that?
Well, speaking of dinner or show, I know that Stephanie brought up a different one that wasn't an original. It's not considered a character meal. But what was the one that you brought up earlier as something that you liked?
The Diamond Horseshoe. Because the Golden Horseshoe at
Oh.
Disneyland has a show, and the Diamond Horseshoe used to have a show, like you said, in the 90s that I remember as a kid as well. And they would pick people out of the audience, and my dad was always every time was one that would get picked. And I don't know, we thought it was hilarious. And the Can girls would come up to him, and they would make him do things or play the little triangle or something in the band, and it was great. It was hilarious. They had comedian, they had the Can girls, and they had somebody else. I want to say it was like maybe juggling or something like that. But you had, and I don't even know. Of course, I was a kid. I don't know if you had to have a reservation for it, but I still feel like it was sort of like a walk up, order your food kind of thing, and then you just go grab a table. So you just want to go and be there when the show was occurring. So every 30, 45 minutes or something, they would have a new show, and you could go sit and watch it, which was so nice as compared
Yeah.
to the player piano they just have sitting lonely on the stage right now.
Um, I want to ask this question too. Is do you remember your first Disney character dining meal? Mine was on the Empress Lily before it was,
Whoa.
what is it now? I can't even remember. A paddlefish.
Paddlefish.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was on the Empress Lily, and I thought we were VIP because I'd never seen anything like that before. And we were like, we're going on this boat and we're going to get to meet Mickey Mouse. Like, that was the coolest thing to me. They probably stopped that in the 1920s. I don't know. It's been a long time. But Stephanie, do you remember your first character dining experience, whether it was as a parent or as a kid?
Oh, as a parent, well, I think
For
it would
as a
have been
parent, mine was Chef Mickey's, but
1900. Oh, I would say as a parent, I think if I was 1900 Park Fair, we had to go there. No, but as a kid, I really want to say it was like Ohana back
okay.
in the day. But it was Mickey. It wasn't. I don't remember. Obviously, Stitch wasn't created yet. So
What about you, Shannon?
I think it was Chef Mickey. But I'll say, I am a snob and I love the yacht club, so we did frequent the Cape May Cafe breakfast character dining, which is cute. And they only have it at breakfast time, not dinner, I think.
Yeah.
Unless they
All right. I
yes.
want to play. I want to play a quick game with the chat. If you guys are still up for it, I want to play. I'm going to show you a picture of a character meal, and and you tell me if you can spot the venue of this character meal. I hope everybody's in chat. I hope you guys are hanging out just a little while longer. I thought this might be a little bit fun. Here's a picture of my kids. Tell me if you can tell me what location this is for a character meal in the chat. Don't you guys on the panel say anything yet, but I do want to see if anybody has an idea. I know that probably Stephanie got it in a hot minute. By the way, TSN 6899 said maybe the scuba diver was looking for characters on the paddlefish. Oh, Jay,
no.
It's Ohana. It's Ohana. So Ohana has 4 characters: Mickey, Pluto, Stitch, and Lilo. This was Pluto, and he has his the lay on. So there's one. 2 more. Hang on a second. I got to make sure it's not anything obvious here. Or anything that we've already looked at. And I may have shown too many. Okay, all right, here's one. This should be pretty easy. I feel like there's only one thing in here that is a telltale sign of what place is this. Jay Ware says, I love my Polly. Fire Chief had guessed Tusker on that other one, by the way, which it could have been possible. I do love me some Tusker. Still waiting for an answer on that one, but we'll back out of that one. And then let me find one more as people. Topolino. Everybody said Topolino. That was an easy one. All right, here's the last one. Oh, I can't wait to see if people know this one.
I do know this one. It does it exist still?
No, and I'm so sad.
It does not exist. Yeah. I can't tell if Alicia's guessing Polly for this one or not because Polly just came in there. Maybe for the other one, but hang on, let's see. Somebody's got to get this one. Ohana's a fun one, said Alicia. Anybody? Bueller. I have a funny story about this one, and then we can wrap up our show here. But I just really wanted to see if anybody wanted to play along. David says, "Oof!" All right, cool. Go ahead and say it, Shannon.
The chat.
Trattoria El Forno on the boardwalk.
Woo-hoo.
That is correct. Yeah.
Ding ding. That was so great.
K310 says, "Wow, she looks so uncomfortable next to Flynn." I guess that's Stephanie looks uncomfortable next to Flynn.
I think she's talking about my daughter, but it was such a great one because you got to see the couples, and it was the Bon Voyage breakfast, right? And so they were sending you off to adventure, and you had Flynn and Rapunzel and Ariel and Eric, and it was. And honestly, I was telling Rob that this is a place now, even though they don't have the characters, it's actually very good breakfast food for not a lot of money. Where can you say that about Disney, honestly?
Yeah,
honestly, and here's the fun part for me is that we did this one, and my daughter hates characters, and she was on the end of the table, like so it was a booth, and she was on the end of the table, and the guy playing, Flynn Rider came by and said, and he could see she had her head down, and we're not talking about like she's 8, she was like 16. And he comes by and he's like, "She hates this, doesn't she?" And we were like, "Yeah." And so he gets down in her face. He goes, "Why do you hate this?" just started having the conversation with her, and it was amazing for us and torture for her. I honestly, I find it harder to talk with. I find it easier to talk to face characters because you can see the expression and you get you get that back. I think when Mickey Mouse comes in, I love to see him, but I don't know what to say to him. And maybe I just get too shy. Maybe that's what it is.
Can I tell you, as a former character myself, we love it when people engage with us, and you don't have to say anything fancy. You can just be like, "Mickey, where's Pluto?" And then you get to do the pantomime thing. You get to be throwing, and it's like improv because if you're throwing a bone to Pluto and people think that they say, "Oh, he's fishing," the answer is always yes. Whatever the guest says, the answer is always yes. Like, yes, you got it. He's fishing, you know. So they love it. They love the interaction. They love more than just, oh, you know, thank you for coming. And then you wave and heart and we love you and this kind of thing. So, yeah, interact with the characters.
Well, the other thing about that one is that they took away the characters, but the breakfast came back. And so when that happened, my daughter was like, wait, those pancakes were fire. Let's go back there now that the characters are gone. Like, this was her best case scenario, and like of all is like, hey, let's go back and have those pancakes, because they did like the little tangled symbol on top of them, and they were super fluffy. And she's like, yeah, let's totally go back to that one. But yeah, that was really funny. So
it's a good place.
Again, I mean, we could talk character meals forever and stories, and I hope you guys share your stories with us. You know, I was looking back through those photos to try to find some for tonight. One of the last ones that I want to mention is that when my son was little, he's definitely a Slytherin and has been a Slytherin since birth. And so there was a character dinner at 1900 Park Fair that was a villain's dinner. And here he is, just as happy as can be, you know, curled up to this crocodile. Like, he had the time of his life. It was 1900 Park Fair. It was a villain's dinner. The Queen of Hearts would meet you in the lobby. I mean, like, who, like Governor Ratcliffe, like, who giggles like that when, like, I mean, seriously, he was loving every minute of this thing. So again, we have stories for days, but when I was going back looking through these pictures, I realized we've kind of done them all. Like, you know, and so I feel like I don't think there's only one that I've missed, and I don't know if either of you guys have been to it, but it's Artist Point and the dinner with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yes,
Shannon,
we have.
You haven't?
No, I've been to Artist Point before they switched to character.
Well, first of all, I hate the fact that Artist Point and Artist Palette exist at the same time, because those those get very confusing.
I forgot.
But Stephanie, tell me again, as the one I haven't tried, is it amazing?
It's amazing. It's a hefty price point. It's a hefty one to lift, but you get to see Snow, you get to see Dopey, and you get to see Grumpy. And then of course the creme de la creme is the Evil Queen. And that's the one that has the backdrop and you can go up to and take a picture with at the end. And they have some interesting offers as far as food goes. They actually bring out a wooden box with dry ice, you know, so that smoke whenever you open it. And they have these, you think it's a boar's heart or something in it, but it's actually just bonbons. But it's interesting, you know, at the end of your meal that you get this box with the, you know, dagger through the heart. But it is fun. It is fun, and they have pretty lights in the trees that change colors. And yeah, it's a hefty one, but it's a interesting one if you like those characters.
So probably you left it out of your lineup because of the price.
Correct.
And the characters are very niche. Like, again, if it's the first time and the only time you're ever going to a character meal, you want Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto, Donald, Daisy. If it's like, if you're just really into like the Pooh characters, you go to, you know, you want the Pooh characters. If you really want to see Tiana in her pantsuit, there's a place to do that. No, I mean, if you want to see princesses, I love that you have Cinderella Castle, you know, Cinderella's Royal Table, and you have Akershus as like a secondary option because of how hard it is to get into Cinderella Castle so much. But, you know, to me, I love, and none of us have mentioned Cinderella as our main, but I loved Cinderella. But you're right, it's expensive. And if you're going to go to Cinderella, I would say try to get in for breakfast because it's a little bit cheaper. Breakfasts are usually a little 100%. Bit cheaper than dinners. So try to do that. But yeah, taking into account price, taking into account location, as we talked about, taking into account the character interactions and the really just the overall value for all of that. I want to get a final thought for just one, as we can give that to the audience as something to take away from this, is to, you know, one that you would highly recommend based on all of those pieces. But So again, you told me what your favorite is, but if you have a best one that's different from that, and maybe it's Topolino's for Shannon, even though she's like, oh, I wouldn't go, but you could totally go to Topolino's. You know, maybe that's the option. But Again, this is a conversation we'll continue to have. If you guys have any questions about it that we didn't talk about or address in our chat, in our conversation tonight, please drop them in the comments below and let us know. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, it's the Park Adventures Club. We have a ton of content coming out all the time, so please join us here. We did a great show last week with Rob Bazemore and with Patrick Hackett, and we talked about how do you do Disney, and so that's was our Park Adventures Club meeting last week. And as I mentioned, we have the Happiest Days with Shannon, is a show that she has done, so you can go back and see many of her different shows that she has. And of course, Stephanie, I don't have the card here, but Stephanie does a show called Castaways, where she interviews people who have made the magic in the past, and her last guest was the fairest of them all, and that show, it was great, a lot of fun to watch, and so please check that out. She's got another part 2 coming up this month with Ron Deanna. He was in the Haunted Mansion. He did the Tiki Room under new management and was a team member at Universal, so has a lot of stories to share. So she did one with him already. Go check that out. And then there's another one coming up. But again, thank you so much to everybody for hanging out with us on your Sunday night. I'm glad baseball is over. I'm just saying that,
No.
Congratulations to the world champion LA Dodgers. But, anyway, but also a big shout out to our PAC. That's our Park Adventures Club. That's our Patreon. If you would like to get more information on that, you can go to patreon.com/GoPac, PAC. Here's a list of our Zebra Mezzanine and our Treasure Room supporters. Thank you guys so much for helping us to do what we do and do what we love, which is to come and talk Disney with you guys and hang out with you guys. Sunday nights at 8:30, we do this show. It's the Park Adventures Club. On Wednesday nights, we do a show called A Look on the Plus Side, and that is our movie / TV review show. And this week, Stephanie's coming for Tangled. She's going to be talking about Tangled, and I cannot wait for that one, because I'm going to go back and rewatch that. It's one of my favorites. That attraction in that place that I promised I'd only talk about once on this show was great, and so I'll probably talk about that a lot more on on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. And then this weekend we'll have even more content for you, and we'll start dropping some Tokyo content starting this Thursday. I'm going to call it Tokyo Thursday. How about that? Doesn't Tokyo Tuesday sounds better? I need till Thursday to get this content out. So Tokyo Thursday, every Thursday for the rest of the year, we're going to be dropping a different thing about Tokyo. The first one's going to be how we got started on our trip. And then from there, we'll talk about each individual thing that happened, not only our Disneyland trip, but also some of that other stuff. And finally, I want to shout out Pete McDevitt is a great guy. Pete McDevitt, if you don't know who he is a YouTube enhancer. I'd never heard that before, because I've always been in the space where we don't, people don't always get embrace other people in the community. And so Pete is great. He reached out to me and was like, hey, we want to promote your channel. We love the Park Adventures Club. We want to promote it. I was like, okay. And then he's like, if you want to come on and talk about it sometime, you can. I went on his show last Wednesday night and talked, and we did a game called Two Truths and a Lie. It was a lot of fun. So, you can find that on our channel. You can also find it on Pete's channel, but he's such a wonderful guy. So just caring and embracing the, people who are trying to do Disney content, and it was a wonderful experience. So again, go check that out. It was a lot of fun. So thank you guys again for being here. But now I want to go around the horn one last time and get your suggestion. Stephanie, Shannon, somebody comes to you, starting with Stephanie, and says, hey, I'm taking that Disney trip, that once in a lifetime. I've never been. I hear character dining's pretty cool. Which one would you suggest to them?
Well, I would first start by asking who are their favorite characters, because if they say Stitch, I'm going to point you to Ohana. I'm going to get you that one reservation right off the bat. But if it's, just I want to see the Fab Five, I want to see Mickey, I'm going to say, you know what? It's a good idea is to do the Fantasmic dining package at Hollywood and Vine. And you get to see the characters dressed up in seasonal outfits, which is great. And then you get reserved seating, basically the first show typically for Fantasmic, and it's smack dab in the middle. It's a wonderful location. So I'm going to say that. And then, the other ones come along, like I said, Tusker House, Garden Grill, love those. Price point is much better on those than some of the other options. Avoid Chef Mickey's because of the loud atmosphere. Just kidding, Shannon. But so if you're a Disneyland resort, though, we didn't touch on that too much, but I will say we've had some great character meals over at there. I think it's the plaza over there as well. And, you know, you have Minnie and you have some characters that are rare. I remember Captain Hook being there, actually, Rob, the first time we went over there, but that was been a few years ago. This last time we went last year, you know, we saw Susie and Perla, the mice from Cinderella, which you don't typically get to see. So that was neat. And then we did something special. We did the princess tea at the Napa Rose room at yes, the Grand Californian. And you got to see, so when I look at character meals, I talk about like the value of them. Obviously the breakfast are going to be less expensive than the lunch or dinner, but you also want to get ones that have at least 4 characters or more. And that princess tea, it was super expensive, but you got a ton of princesses except for Sleeping Beauty. I'm like, it's Sleeping Beauty's castle. Why are we not having Sleeping Beauty here? But you got to see Pocahontas, which you don't always get to interact with. Belle read you a story, which was pretty cool. Rapunzel, Ariel, Merida, and Tiana. So, I mean, what is that, 6? Like, that's a ton. So anyway, you do pay for it, obviously. It's a special event kind of situation. And then there's the storytellers, and we love the storytellers. And of course, that's what kicked this whole off. They have this wonderful, you know, Mickey's, Christmas Carol event. But it used to be that you got to see some rare characters there, like Coda and Kenai. And that was pretty cool. I loved that because, again, it was more of that West Coast, kind of characters as well that you don't always get to see. Chippendale and kind of scouts looking, attire and that kind of thing. So anyway, I love that they have something different, like Shannon said, than we do at Disney World, but I would love to see the Mickey characters come into Disney World too for the Christmas time.
Okay. And Shannon? Are you waving the white flag for Topolino's? You giving in?
I'm doubling down on Chef Mickey.
Okay, all right, okay, I missed it.
Oh man, no. Okay, I said my piece on Chef Mickey, but honestly, at the end of the day, if I had to pick one, I think you have to go with Cinderella's Royal Table. You're dining inside the castle. Like that, I mean, if you're going to spend a ton of money on character dining, then you might as well be dining in the castle. And I think that would appeal to so many people. So that is going to be my option.
Okay.
That's a good point. Well, I think Disney World's the only place you can dine in the castle, right, Rob?
Yeah, no, for sure. Because, never mind.
Stephanie, are you saying Tokyo?
Tokyo.
You're gonna bait me. I know. I've acquiesced only one per show. But let me say that I agree with you, Stephanie, about California. We didn't really talk as much about it. They have 4 options. The princess one you're talking about, I've done, and it is expensive, and it is probably worth it, but you're going to pay for it. And so that's one thing, and that's over at Grand California and in the Napa Rose. The Storytellers is my favorite there because of the food, really, and but it's in the Grand Californian, so it's a little bit off the beaten path unless they're doing something unique. And then Goofy's Kitchen, we used to do Goofy's Kitchen like every other Thanksgiving. We would go out to Disneyland and we would go to Goofy's Kitchen, and those rare characters. Like, how often does Baloo swing by the table? That was kind of awesome. And then of course the Plaza Inn that you were talking about there, that one's also a good one. So Disneyland has some good options. They only have 4, but they have some good options from you're doing something in the park to you're doing like the tea at the Grand Californian. They're all good. But for me, for like all around, for value, for location, for characters, for the food, for me, I'm going to get, I don't know. It's Garden Grill. Garden Grill for me is the all around, like you get Mickey and you get Pluto and you get Chip and Dale. They come to your table. Sometimes they come too much because, they do laps and you might be able to get to see them twice. But the fact that you're in a rotating restaurant, and it doesn't make you sick, but it's a rotating restaurant, and then you see the pieces of the land, that you can look down on that attraction. It's inside the park, which means you don't have to leave, go to a character breakfast, and come back to the park if you're going to spend your day there. And I think it has a good value to it. So for me, Garden Grill is the easy one to do. I love all of these other things. Topolino's is a great one for me. I love doing that one. Tusker House is great. Chef Mickey's is the one that got us started, but like I said, the Empress Lily was the first time I ever got onto into a character meal and was like, wait a minute, you can do this? You can just sit at the table and Mickey comes to you? How does that work? That's nuts. So please ask your questions, share your experiences, tell us everything in the chat. Thank you guys for being with us on your Sunday night. Thank you on here for being here, and hopefully you guys will have a great week. Come back and check out our content. We would love for you guys to check out everything we have to offer on Park Adventures Club. You can get it to us at parkadventures.com, parkadventuresclub.com anytime. Have a great week. We'll see you guys next time. And remember, adventure is out there.